comes over and I have my hand out like this and he just out of nowhere rips my hand off. This is a prosthetic.
Oh my god, shut the fuck up.
And so me and my sister are sitting there screaming and crying because my dad's strangling this goat. And
but out of everything that he did to me, the most like genuinely like when I think about it, the things that are like most hurtful that stick with me the most is when he left me in the hospital with my kids.
Yeah.
Trauma equals overwhelm plus lack of safety plus no support.
Yeah.
And welcome back to Traumatic Comedy. Today's episode, we are talking about if it is trauma or not, which is kind of ironic because I think our name implies that we are just claiming that everything is traumatic and then making jokes about it. But we all really have been through some pretty traumatic life experiences, and we've noticed a lot of like viral trends on the internet of people being like, this is so traumatic, and it's just not. And so we kind of want to like point that out and call it out and be like, hey,
not everything that is bad or hard happens as trauma.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a difference between hard things and bad things and truly traumatizing events. So
yeah.
Let's get into it.
All right.
So how are we starting?
I think we should start with the definition of trauma because I looked it up.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so the definition of trauma. Trauma is a deeply distressing experience that overwhelms an individual's ability to cope, causing lasting negative effects on their physical, emotional, and mental well-being.
Okay, so then what's the difference between just a hard life event and a traumatizing event?
When I was looking into some other things, it would say like trauma equals, like, this is like kind of just like the basic way of putting it. Trauma equals overwhelm plus lack of safety plus no support.
Yeah.
And thinking about like all of my own experiences, like those were ever present in every single one of them.
So from my understanding, there's like two main components that go into whether or not a person will be left traumatized by an event. And this is important because there's a lot of events that like every person will encounter at some point in their life. Like death is the biggest one I can think of.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody will experience death at least some point in their life. And that's just a small one of whether you're left traumatized by maybe an event of death is circumstantial around that.
Yeah.
And that can include like what the family member, how close the family member is, how the person died. But what it really comes all the way down to is the level of support that you receive throughout that event. So if you have a child who's abused or neglected, right? Just any sort of neglect, no support there at all, that's going to lend to that event being more traumatizing than if there's a positive, social support there.
Yeah, for sure. I think just like as an example with the death one, with my own experience, there was the trauma. My mom passed. I was living with her in her house. I was still young. I kind of didn't really expect it because I was like sheltered and naive to the world. I knew she was going to die one day, but it kind of just like came out of nowhere, which it also didn't. I knew it was kind of coming, but then
it still came fast.
So. Yeah, I went from watching my mom go from like talking to me on the couch, like how we all are right now, to within a matter of weeks, I had to cut her hair, and she is like throwing up her bowels because she has a bowel blockage and her cancer's taking over her bowels. Like,
holy shit, I didn't know that.
Within weeks, yeah, dude, it was very, very bad. It was so traumatic. And then also on top of that, what happened afterwards was no support, really. I mean, like, I didn't have a lot of people because I got into that abusive relationship, and a lot of people like were distancing themselves from me in like a tough love aspect, and no safety, obviously. I was with an abusive person, and then I had people that were trying to steal and take advantage of my money as well.
Yeah,
so that was very traumatic. Yeah, all the way around.
Well, I mean, I felt safe. I was like safe for the most part. I wasn't being like physically abused or anything when George, that whole year. But I mean, it happened suddenly, and it's similar to what you were saying of like, obviously knew that it was going to happen.
Yeah.
I was 22 weeks pregnant. But it's like it was really sudden when it happened. Like, there were like 12 hours leading up to his death, but that last like 30 minutes was crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Well, and then also on top of that, you didn't have the person that should have been supporting you wasn't supporting you.
True.
The way he should have been.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Well, and honestly, you're supposed to have safety and security in a relationship, and he didn't offer that.
No.
I mean, aside from going to work, what did he give you that made you feel safe?
I can't answer that. I don't know.
When George passed, right?
What?
No, he wasn't.
Oh no.
She was by herself.
Yeah, it was Mel and I, our hospice nurse.
Yeah.
And me. And little George. So, yeah, I guess. I mean, I had support. I really had support all around the world. And my mom really was, she was there for me every step of the way as much as my baby dad would have allowed her to be. Obviously, like, if I could have moved my mom in during that time, I absolutely would have. That would have been the best thing for me, because even when George was being birthed, I want her in the room, and my baby dad said no. Like, she wasn't allowed to be in there.
Yeah.
Which is stupid. So I guess that kind of...
that is taking support away as well.
Yeah.
Because he may have been your support, but he wasn't a good support at all.
Yeah. Isolation.
Well, and that makes me think of, like, one of the funniest things, like, out of my relationship with my kid's dad was, like, he was very severely emotionally and mentally abusive.
Mm-hmm.
And he was also very, like, physically violent. And out of everything that he did to me, the financial abuse is a big one, because, like, that took so much recovery and everything. But, like, there was times I genuinely thought that man was going to kill me. Like, there was times where I was like, oh, fuck, like, if I don't get out of this, I'm literally going to die.
Yeah.
But out of everything that he did to me, the most, like, genuinely like, when I think about it, the things that are, like, most hurtful, that stick with me the most, was when he left me in the hospital with my kids.
Yeah.
So, like, out of all the times he, like, raged, like, just, like, broke the house, like, almost murdered me, like, the most traumatizing, like, if I could pick one, it would be leaving me alone in the hospital right after giving birth.
Yeah.
Because I was all
That's
alone.
nuts.
Like, I had, like, one family member come down when my son was born, and then my daughter was born during COVID. So I, like, couldn't have anybody. And then I didn't want people there, because then it was, like, embarrassing to, like, know that, like, he wasn't there.
Yeah.
But that's just an interesting, too, like, to how how we cope with trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Like, out of everything he did, including, like, making me think I was gonna die, the most actual, like, fucked up thing he did to me was just, like, leaving me isolated, like, by myself at a time when I, like, really needed. And so that's an emotional thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because
like,
there's emotional traumas,
that was, like,
too.
the most emotionally painful trauma I had.
Like, mine is, like, the same. I think the really the worst was when I got strangled at the end and left.
Mm-hmm.
But the most, like, emotional, just like you said, was not, like, the abuse at all. It was when, remember I told you guys when he left me alone when the dog started fighting?
Yeah.
He wanted dinner.
Yeah, you needed him.
I needed anyone.
Somebody.
And I was all fucking alone. Yeah. He called me and he said, I'm coming home and I want you to make dinner. And I was just like, oh, okay, because I hate cooking, you know, I always have. And he heard me sigh and he was just pissed, instantly lost
attitude,
like,
disrespect.
You don't
little
want to
bitch.
cook for me. Yeah. Yeah.
Because he was also racist.
Yeah. I'm white, but I have experienced racism. That clip's gonna get a lot of hate if I put that out there, but it's fucking true. I seriously was like racially anyways.
Racially abused.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm all, or he wants food, and I'm like, okay, well, all we have are hamburgers, I'll make some. No, you have an attitude, I'll go to my mom's house, she'll cook for me.
Oh,
and I was like, no, please come home. Like, you've been gone all day. Like, how stupid is that? I know, but I'm like, please.
Dude, fuck.
And he's like, I'm not coming home. And I'm like, oh my god, I promise I'll make food. So I go in, I start making food, because I'm like, he's gotta come home, he's gotta believe me. Even if he doesn't, at least he'll see I still cooked for him when he does come home, you know? So I'm sitting there making these hamburgers, and I put the dogs outside. He had a German Shepherd, and I had a pit bull. And they start fighting, and I hear them fight. And so I go out there, and I'm like, hey, stop. I'm yelling at them. They won't stop. And then I look at my dog, dude. His whole neck is just bleeding all down his arm. And I just start crying. I'm like, oh, my God. And so I go up, and I start punching his dog in the head, trying to get him to let go. I tried pulling him apart first, and that didn't work. But I'm, like, punching him. I'm trying everything I can. And he will not let go. He let go for a second, and then he just re-grabbed on the other side. His ear was all cut and bleeding too. It was horrible. It was, like, gruesome. And so then what I ended up doing is I grabbed a lawn chair that was out there, and I threw it at them. And they both tumbled down the patio stairs and then kept fighting. And so I'm screaming this whole time. I'm like, someone please help me. Help, because my dog is, like, dying, dude. I thought he was going to die. I'm like, oh, my God, someone please help. I'm screaming bloody murder. And so I I finally, dude, I don't know how I did it, but I finally somehow got them apart. I grabbed Duke, I yank him inside, fucking slam the door shut, and then all of a sudden there's a knock at my door, and I'm like, oh my god, it's him. And so I go, and I'm all freaked out because dinner's not ready, and it's 2 detectives.
Oh my
god.
What?
Yeah, they go, someone called the cops. They think you're being murdered over here. And I'm like, I'm no makeup. I'm covered in fucking dog blood. I'm all alone. I've been bawling.
God.
And I'm like, shit, this does not look good. And
there's actually not a body in here. My dog.
Yeah, and they did not believe me. They wanted to come in and search the house, but I couldn't let them because, of course, my ex had
drug
paraphernalia. And I was like, I'm not going to get in trouble for that. And so I told them they couldn't come in, and they were like,
well, you're all covered in blood.
Yeah. They're like, please,
They're like,
please,
we really think that
let
you're
us
in
see
trouble.
the dog, and we will believe you. And so I went and got Duke and showed them, and they believed me. But one detective, you could tell, didn't want to leave, and I think they probably stuck around for quite a while
Honestly,
after that.
that was a good thing, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm glad they did
where were
that.
they, though, when you were,
When I was actually being abused,
Yeah,
they didn't
Never
believe
around,
me.
dude.
Yeah.
Never around.
But no, seriously, like, being alone like that, dealing with something that traumatic, thinking my dog was gonna die, dude, like, that was so scary, and I had no one. And then he came home and he was mad at me. Like,
you can't win.
no. Yeah, so that was probably, like, the worst. And there was nothing physical that happened to me, and that was traumatic.
Yeah, it was like emotional neglect.
Yeah.
Been there.
Yeah.
What about you, Shai?
So, I have to sit here and, like, really think about things that have actually truly possibly traumatized me. I've had a lot of shit in my life, my whole life, but it's all made me who I am. So anyways, I guess the first thing that comes to my mind is, so my dad was, especially in his younger years, a very angry, quickly aggressive person when he got angry. And let's see, my sister was probably around maybe 7 or so. So I would have said 8, 9, 10. I would have been, I don't know, I was maybe like 11 years old, maybe 12, somewhere around in there. And we had this mule that was a pain in the ass. I mean, he was freaking scared of everything. He was a pain in the ass. Anyways, so I was trying to lead him to the pen, to the corral that he was supposed to be in, and beside the corral, like on the way to the corral, there was a pen we had for our goat, and I'm just leading him, and I'm walking, and as soon as he sees that goat, that he's seen a million times, mind you, okay, he sees this goat, and he rips out of my hands and takes off, and like, my dad immediately starts screaming at me, yelling at me, calling me all sorts of names, this and that, why can't you hold on to a fucking mule? And then I go and I catch him again, and I go to lead him by, and he does the same shit, rips out of my hands. I mean, my hands are bleeding from the rope burn, because I'm trying as hard as I can to hold on to that lead rope. I'm small, this mule is just taking off, turning and running, right? So then he goes and catches the mule, and he tries to lead him by, and the mule does the same fucking thing and rips out of my dad's hands. So then now my dad is like livid pissed, and he wasn't the type of person that was admitted he was wrong very often. So anyways, this mule rips out of his hands, and immediately the next thing he does, because he's pissed off, is he goes and he grabs that goat, and he starts beating the shit out of the goat and strangles the goat. I thought he killed him. And mind you, this is the goat is like our pet. Like, we love the shit out of this goat, right? He's amazing, you know? And so me and my sister are sitting there screaming and crying, because my dad's strangling this goat, and then he lets go, and he goes back and catches the mule and all that, and the goat finally gets up after, like, I don't know, 10 seconds or so. The goat gets up, and I'm just sitting there, like, me and my sister are sitting there bawling,
trying to get the goats to come back to life.
Oh my God, Shy, what the fuck? You're like, I guess I could think of something.
So anyways, yeah, he gets the goat, he lets go of the goat, he goes and he disappears for a while. He goes off and calms down or whatever. And then he did end up apologizing for that and everything. But yeah, so that's like the first thing that I can think of. Um, and then the second thing I can think of is when I was living in Kansas, so I was probably like I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 years old. And the ranch that we kept our horses at, the boarding facility, I was pretty good friends with their daughter, and she had a pool, and it was a really freaking hot day. It's the middle of the day. I had my jeans on, my boots on, long sleeve shirt on, and I had already ridden my pony that morning, I believe. I'd already ridden, but then I just wanted to go hang out with Rochelle was her name. I wanted to go hang out with her and swim in the pool. And so my mom's standing there. She comes up and she's like, "What are you doing? You need to go ride your horse more, this, and that." And I looked at her. I was like, "I really just, I just want to swim. I want to. It's really hot. I don't really feel like riding right now." So then my mom snaps and she just grabs me and fucking throws me in the pool. Like I didn't even have any. Like I had no warning. I had no. I'm wearing boots. I'm wearing jeans. I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt. And I was completely caught off guard. So she throws me in the pool and I suck in water and sit there and fucking like trying to get to the top. I honestly thought I was drowning.
Oh my god.
And so then I finally get up and I get out of the pool and then of course my mom's immediately apologizing. But yeah, like that was like a snap for her, and that's like something that I still to this day remember because I was just like,
What
oh,
the fuck?
you could have fucking killed me. You know, like I could have drowned. She threw me in the deep end, mind you, too, of course.
Oh my
like
god.
so lucky I could swim.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's the two things. But even then, like it's hard for me because I'm like, obviously it has stuck with me a little bit
Yeah.
because I still remember those things very vividly. But it's not like it had a lasting. I don't know. I guess like I do because I'm because of my dad's anger and everything. I have like still to this day a very like I really try very hard not to piss people off, like especially men, because I had a very explosive father who is he's much better now. Obviously, he's calmed down quite a bit.
Because old men
But
chill
I
out.
could there was definitely a lot of times I watched him almost beat our dogs to death because they did something. But yeah,
I had that.
I guess that's about what I got.
Yeah, one time my stepdad grabbed, so he had these steaks sitting out on the counter that he was like seasoning, and he walked away and left them on the counter for like 30 minutes. I don't know what the fuck he was doing. He was probably gaming on his fucking computer. And he comes back, and my dog had ate one. Lucky. And he picked her up by the scruff, and he carried her all the way into the kitchen, and he banged her head off the counter as many times as he could, and then fucking threw her outside. And I was like, my mom was pissed. She was like, "You fucking left that meat on the counter. What the fuck do you expect?" Like, she was
this a
so
dog?
mad. Yeah,
Lucky.
it was my dog Lucky. Yeah, just a
She
little
used to
border
bite
collie.
the fuck out of me.
When you'd run, she was a herder.
Yeah, dude. She was a little bit.
Well, if we're talking about animals,
She was a little bitch to me, dude. She was always biting my ass.
if we're talking about animals, I have a lot, but Lexi's gonna find this so funny. My friend Lexi, shout out, I guess, but she had this super cute golden retriever named Carter, and I really liked that dog, but I think I had only met him a couple times, and the first time I did not have a hat or a beanie on at all. It's a golden retriever, right? They have soft ass bites. They're supposed to be really gentle.
I got bit on my neck by a golden retriever.
Dude, I was sitting on her dad. What?
Did you say they're supposed to have soft ass bites?
Yeah, they're supposed to be really gentle. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
like
what I mean.
America's dog. Like they're supposed to be.
Like they're supposed to be gentle. That's what I've always heard.
No, I've been bit on the neck by a golden retriever. Joe's been bit by a golden retriever when he was a kid too.
Well, it was crazy because I was sitting down there. I had a beanie on, and I'm sitting at the end of Lexi's bed, I think, and Carter was acting really weird, and I was trying to like say, "Hey, dude," whatever, and he like scoots. He's very gently scooting closer to me, and I'm like, he's just getting a feel. It's all good. He comes over, and I have my hand out like this, and he just out of nowhere rips my hand off. This is a prosthetic.
Oh my god, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, he fucking bit me.
Damn.
And I embellish everything, pretty much.
So do you think
he didn't even break skin?
Or do you think that's one of those things?
Traumatizing, because I've been bit by dogs before, but now I'm traumatized.
Overwhelmed. There was no support.
He had no support.
And I
He
wanna
was
say
in a
there was
volatile
lack
environment.
of safety. Yeah, that
Lack
is
of safety.
okay. See,
This
that can make
freak.
sense. Yeah.
So, anyways, he didn't even break the skin. It was fine, but it scared the shit out of me so bad.
All right. So since we've all kind of shared some traumatic stories, we should probably talk about things that aren't
Brandy?
traumatic.
Yeah.
Okay.
She talked about being in the hospital and her kid's dad wasn't there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That part.
But was that traumatic?
I think
I'm
you're
just kidding.
overreacting.
Probably am.
Yeah.
I'm
Probably
probably being
just
a
too
pussy.
sensitive. That's what you tell me all the time.
Yeah.
You're so sensitive. You done white bitch.
That's okay. He's always tell me. Like the time when he like fucking like left my teeth imprinted on my gums.
Oh my god.
And I told him, I was like, you need to get the fuck out of here. I'm calling the cops. You're making me fucking bleed. You made me bleed. And I'm like trying to wipe the blood from the inside of my mouth to like show him that I'm bleeding because I can taste so much blood in my mouth, but there was just like not like enough coming off on my hand. But like I could taste blood all over my mouth. And I was bruised, like my whole mouth inside and out. Like I was fucked up, dude. And I'm like trying to show him the blood, and he literally goes like, "You're being dramatic. You're overreacting."
Yeah.
He like was strangling me to death to the point that I couldn't breathe.
God.
And like literally left my teeth imprinted on my gums. And
you can literally breathe through your nose.
Dramatic.
Yeah,
he literally was like, "You're being dramatic. Stop."
Oh my god.
Just chill.
Speaking of, I haven't told you this morning. I heard a scream from outside my apartment, like blood curdling.
Oh
like
no.
You know when a toddler gets hurt and it's like, ah, like just fucking loud as fuck, high pitch. It went on and on and on, and I'm like, oh my god, what's going on? Ryder had just woken up, he's sitting with me, and he's freaked out. I'm like, what the hell? So I go over to the door and I start listening, and it's this girl, and she's like coughing. It sounds like she's like coughing up blood or like mucus or something, and she's crying, and she's like, get away from me, help, help. And I'm like, oh my god. And yeah, I know, dude, it like sent me into fight or flight. I was so scared. And then she was like yelling for help, and then she goes, I'm gonna call the cops on you. And so I got my phone out and I started recording, and I thought they were gonna come upstairs. I thought it was gonna be like our neighbors or something. So I'm recording out the people, and you can just hear. I didn't think I got it on recording, but dude, it's so scary. I'll play it for you after this.
Where was Joe?
He was sleeping. But I went and woke him up. I'm like, get the fuck out here. And so he walked through all of the apartment floors. He walked outside in the parking lot. He looked everywhere, dude. We could not figure out where it was coming from. And like, how do you call the cops when something like that happens? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
where are they gonna go?
Somewhere in this building, maybe.
They're gonna
like
knock on every single door.
Just watching their TV really loud.
Oh my god.
No, it was scary, dude. It was so bad. I'll play the video for you after. But yeah, that
so
was
scary.
traumatic for me. That's just this morning, this little thing that happened, because it like just reminded me.
Oh yeah, PTSD.
Yeah.
Funny thing about PTSD though is I feel like that's the thing about trauma, right? Is there's like I've met other people where I talk to them about stuff, and like you can have something like what's considered traumatizing to you happen without you being a traumatized person, like which I think just kind of plays into another topic we're going to go over, which is the victim mindset thing, right?
Yeah.
And so you have, okay, like one we use all the time is you and George. There's always been, I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have done it. And you're like, okay, like what the fuck do you want me to do? You
like
know what I mean?
People always say that until you go through it.
And when it comes to trauma, that's what it is like you still only have so many options. You can either let the trauma overcome you and then you live out a very sad, miserable life.
Yeah.
Or you have to overcome that trauma. It doesn't mean that you don't still have trauma.
Question. Do you believe that people can grow with their trauma? Or is it something you have to grow out of?
I feel like you grow with it because it like Cheyenne said, it shapes you. Yeah.
And that's exactly why I was thinking that is because of what Shai said.
Yeah.
Because you just like,
we
I don't know,
be the people we are today without it. Like I wouldn't have my own business. I wouldn't
not be
in a good relationship.
Probably.
Yeah, but have you grown with it then, or have you outgrown that? Have you like overcame that trauma? Like you still carry like okay, like avoiding a victim mindset. Like what even is a victim mindset, right? Like I think when you live in like when I was really severe in my eating disorder, I would say that's a time in my life when I was living in a victim mindset. And I say that because like once I started to really come out of it, and I kind of started to get clearer thinking about it, when I would look back at it, it's like how pitiful. Like it was like such just self-pity, poor me. I've had all these bad, horrible things happen to me, which like, yeah, that might have been true. I might have had a lot of fucked up ass shit going on. But the main problem with that was all of it was being neglected, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like what we talked about already, like there was not proper support for it. I was very overwhelmed and I didn't have a proper way to cope with it. So then it overran my system, right? Like I was no longer in control. The
Mhm.
trauma was in control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was very much in a victim mindset at that time. And I think that's what that is. When you're in a victim mindset, it's debilitating. You cannot function because you're allowing life's hardships to control your behavior and your reaction to life.
Yeah.
And like when you really heal, you are able to retain that control or regain that control.
I
and
think
despite
that's why I get so mad about certain things when people are being a victim, because I have been a victim. When I was looking it up, it said trauma can wire your brain to expect harm, and so when you expect harm, what happens? You attract harm.
Right.
So when you're a victim of one thing, you're going to be a victim of another thing and another thing and another thing. And that was true for me from as a tiny child up until I was in the domestic abusive relationship, and got out of that. I remember I was driving home after working at the hotel one day, and I was like, I don't want to be a victim anymore. And I just decided, like, as simple as that sounds, I was like, no, no more, never gonna happen again. I will not be a fucking victim.
I think it's really wonderful when people are able to think about it like that, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, and then some people have it lasts way longer, and it's really hard to get out of that.
It felt like such a long time. I was so fed up with myself because I was the little kid that if I went to a sleepover, I was the one getting pranked.
Right.
I was the one who was gonna somehow get hurt. That would, like, something was always happening to me, no matter what, all the fucking time. I was that pitiful kid that it was like, oh, of course Courtney had that happen. She's accident prone. Of course Courtney had that happen. She's the fucking sensitive. You know what I mean? Like, that was always me as a kid. And then I just grew into that, and that was me as an adult until I was like, I'm not fucking doing this anymore. Like, I don't know. I just
rewired your brain.
I think the reason it makes me mad is because I see my past self in other people who are living in victimhood, and I'm like, you can get out of that. You can be like how I am now, how we all are now, you know, like you don't have to be a victim. And it's like, I wish I could just show them that.
Well, the thing people need to realize about it too is it's not for anybody but yourself.
Yeah.
Because, like, especially if you've been victimized by another person, abusers don't empathize for their victims at all.
No.
So when you live your life in sorrow and misery, it's like to me, it's like just lending power to your abuser and allowing them to win.
Oh, yeah.
Like, my abuser still tells me, to this day, he will say to me, do you think you're the victim of this? And I tell him, I don't have time to be a victim, bitch. I have shit to do.
Yeah.
And, like, that's such a big thing is he has to know, like, my abuser has to know that people realize he's the one who was hurt, right?
Sure,
and I'm like, I don't have time to prove I was hurt, you know what I mean? Like, I have to pick up and just keep going. And I think that's the thing about, and honestly, that's almost kind of like a trauma response in itself, though, is like, I don't have time. I don't have time to be sitting and feeling all that shit because I just got to keep going. I got to keep it moving all the time.
Yeah.
And that's almost kind of a trauma. But it's like not living in a victim mindset. It might be like carrying some trauma, some lingering trauma or whatever.
I think that it's okay for people to recognize. I think that it's okay for people to recognize that they have been a victim of certain circumstances. That's okay to recognize. But I think the problem with staying in that mindset is the growth that you're not allowing yourself to achieve. And I think, because I think of us as human beings, we're typically, I would say generally, most humans are always looking for that type of growth. And when you stay in that, it stunts that so heavily. I mean, I definitely am guilty of being in that mindset, not necessarily because of the most traumatic things that have happened to me, but because of certain things that are wrong with the sick part of my brain. And it really goes into a lot of what you were saying. So I'm definitely guilty of that. But one of the many talks that we've had this week has been about that growth and switching that mindset and creating different and better neural pathways in your brain to stray away from those like really detrimental ones.
So you don't fall back into being a victim again. Yeah. Because
it really it's not doing you any good. And like, even with George, and I've explained this to you guys so many times, you know, when people have said, you're so strong, I could never do that. I could never make it out of something like that alive until you do it. And my thought process with George was that, what I don't have any other choice.
Right.
I cannot. It was not an option for me to just like waste away.
Yeah.
And another thing with that, from my own perspective, was like I really do believe that George's little spirit is floating around there. Didn't want him to see his mom not achieve really great things, because it's like, I don't like thinking that my experience happened to me, and my personal experience. It didn't happen to me. It just kind of coincided in my life, and that just happened, you know?
That's what they say, like, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And with my specific experience with my son dying, you know, it obviously sucked. That was like the worst, one of the worst things that's ever happened to
That's one way
me.
of putting it, yeah.
Yeah, it
That shit
did.
sucked.
It did. Don't recommend doing that. But at the same time, like Shai was saying, I learned so much from that experience. I learned so much about myself, and I learned so much about what I believed, what I currently believe. And had I stayed in bed like I wanted to, my God, I think my brain would have turned to mush. And I just picture it being gray.
Wasn't it you? I was talking to one of you two. I think I was talking to you the other day about how like as bad as my relationship with my kid's dad was, it was a like very long-term relationship that was violent for most of the time. And as bad as it was, I won't say I'm thankful for it.
Sure.
But I think it was necessary for my growth and development, because it showed me that, like, yeah, I have these good qualities about me, but that they have to come with boundaries. And that I'm able to, that I don't remember how I worded it the other day, but like, rather than being like angry about it or hurt or sad about it, and like I said, I won't use the word thankful for it.
Yeah.
But I think this is just kind of what we're all meant to do with life, is like, some people try to find, oh, well, I had this trauma happen to me so I can help other people who have the same trauma. Like, I don't even like to look at it like that.
No.
But it's your life to do what you will with it. And the experiences that happen are the experiences that happen. And we're here whether we want to be or not. So it's your responsibility to take whatever experiences you have, good or bad, and use them to your best benefit. And that's how you avoid living in a victim mindset. It's like, I can't live and be sad every day that I used to fucking get beat by my baby daddy. But what I can do is look at what allowed myself to enter into and stay in that situation, and say, okay, these are things I'm no longer going to allow in my life, and then allow myself to be a better version because of it.
Yeah. It might not be your fault what has happened to you or what you've gone through, but it is your responsibility and what you do with that after.
There's so many people out there that have that, why me, poor me, why does this always happen to me? And like Abby was saying, that I totally agree with, it's all on what you do with that and how you respond to the scenarios that happen to you, right? So here's something. On almost every single road trip that I've gone on my whole life, right? Okay. Something happens with, like, let's say the vehicle. Okay. Something happens. The truck breaks down. On our way to Missouri a couple weeks ago, hauling our Longhorns to the Longhorn sale. We're driving, everything's fine, everything's cool. All of a sudden, this truck pulls up beside us, and he's pointing back, like he's pointing, and we're like, what the hell happened? Like, what's going on? Obviously, he's trying to warn us about something. But I'm like, I'm looking in the rearview mirror, Randy's looking in the rearview mirror. We're like, we have no idea, okay? So we pull up to the gas station and look, and one of the fucking wheels on the trailer completely gone, everything. Like, and so, you know, I just kind of laugh about it. I'm like, yeah, of course that would happen, right? You know, but there's nothing we can do about it. And then another time we're leaving a rodeo, and okay, this is actually a really good one. So we're leaving the rodeo. It's me, my sister, and her friend. We have horses in the trailer. They're pulling my trailer, right? It's my trailer that they're using. And we were literally just turning out of the fairgrounds, and it literally felt like we hit a pothole. This is flat. I'm like, and all of us, we look at each other and we're like, what the fuck? Like, what just happened? What did we hit? There was nothing there for us to hit, right? It literally felt like we hit something. And then we look in the rearview mirror, and the whole back axle is just rolling down the fucking road, dude. And I immediately, luckily, Randy was right there, and I call him back. I'm like, hey, babe, you need to turn around. We got some shit going on here, okay? And then the whole, we end up, the horses are, everything's fine. We load up the back axle in the back half of the trailer, and we're like, all right, well, we got to make it home, right?
This is the only way we can get the horses home. And we're driving on the highway, and the whole time, Kagan and Brittany are kind of, especially Kagan, kind of freaking out a little bit, like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. I'm so freaked out. And I'm sitting back there like, well, fuck, guys. It's a damn good thing that didn't happen while we were on the highway.
Oh my God, seriously.
What happened if that went down when we were going 70 miles an hour? Luckily we were only going 2 miles an hour, right? And so it's like that victim mindset is you can either take these things and you can sit there and be like, oh, wow, what the fuck? This always happens. I can't believe that happened. I'm so fucked. Now I have to pay to get this axle, and I have to pay this, or I have to do this. And then this means that I can't do this. And in my mind, I'm like, well, I'm really freaking glad that it didn't kill us or our horses. I think that the victim complex is kind of one of those things where I'm like, stop feeling sorry for yourself. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not trying to diss on people, and I'm not trying to call anybody out, but stop fucking feeling sorry for yourself, because you are alive. You have a roof over your head. Now, there's people out there that don't have food. They don't have a roof over their head. They don't have things that, like, at least I still have the horse trailer, at least I still have these things, and I'm still capable. I have 2 legs, I have 2 hands, I have 2 arms. I'm able to, feed my family. There's times like, owning our own business. There's times where we have, fucking 6 figures in our account, and there's times where we have nothing in our account, right? And it's like, it's really hard to sit there and be like, well, it's all right. We'll figure it out. It sucks right now, but there's, we are taking, that's another thing. Take the steps that you can in that moment. Don't sit there and stress and worry about things that you cannot change. Do what you can, and then you have to let things happen. So like money issues and stuff like that. If you're sitting there because you're low on money, or you have this, instead of sitting there just complaining about the money and thinking about what you don't have, do what you can to accomplish, or to get more money, in the sense of money, right? Because that's just like, that's super apparent in today's day and age, like, right? So it's like, take the steps you need to take the steps that you can take right now, and don't focus on what you don't have or what is going wrong, because there's only so much you can do at one point in time. And as long as you are taking the steps that need to be taken, it will sort itself out. But if all you do is focus on the negative, you are only going to bring negative into your life.
Yeah. As you're saying this, it's crazy. It's like trauma makes you say why. It just like clicked in my head. And problem solving makes you say how or what. Yeah. Like, what can we do? How can we get out of this? What's the next step? Trauma's like, why me?
Well, I was going to say, like, I think of a victim mindset is living in a state of mind that's like, I can't do this. Yeah. This is too hard. I cannot do this. Yep. Where a survivor's mindset says, I'm going to do this no matter what.
That's crazy. And I used to always have that run through my head when I was younger. Like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. Like, well, and like, even like, I think like at my most broken down ass times is like, I cannot do this anymore. And like kind of what Shai was saying about feeling sorry for yourself. If you're feeling sorry for yourself, it's a sign that something's drastically wrong in your life. Yeah. And the biggest thing about healing trauma, like, the number one tool to healing trauma, the number one necessary thing that victims, people who have been victimized, like even by other people, is to take accountability. Mm-hmm. And like initially that might offend some people to think of that. And it's not to take accountability. Say someone was sexually assaulted and you're saying, well, it was my fault, I was sexually assaulted. That's not what taking accountability is. Yeah, I know. But again, taking accountability and like living in a survivor's mind state rather than a victim mind state is like just regaining that control of your life. Because number one, when you don't, especially if it's like when you have been victimized and there's like an abuser, another person involved, in order to take your power back and overcome it, you have to say, this may have happened to me, but this is still my life. So despite this horrible bad thing that happened to me that shouldn't have, this is still my life, and I'm going to live it to the fullest potential despite, what harm was brought to me. Like, when you look at all of us, when maybe we were in abusive relationships and stuff, those were all allowed to happen because we had already been victimized, right, by other things.
Yeah.
So at the time that I entered into my abusive relationship, I was definitely living in a victim mind state. And so what did I do? I placed myself in a place to continue to be victimized.
Yeah.
I was living in a victim mind state, so I allowed myself to continue to be victimized.
Yeah.
I'm not victimized anymore because just like you, I woke up one day and I was like, I'm not going to keep fucking living like this.
No.
I am no longer a victim. I will no longer allow myself to continue to be treated as one.
Crying because it's hard?
Yes.
Okay. What is doing hard things get you? What?
Stronger.
Stop crying. Take a deep breath. Where does hard things get you?
Stronger.
They get you stronger, right? Are doing easy things gonna get you stronger?
No.
Do you want to stay weak?
No.
Are you gonna finish? Are you gonna quit?
No.
Okay, stop crying. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. You're okay. Ready? Get up that hill. Ready?
Stop and smell the roses. You might see something that you
A lot of people in the comments on this video are disagreeing on whether or not this is a traumatic incident. And I personally don't believe it's traumatic at all. I think the number one thing that people are getting caught up on is the verbiage the father uses in the very beginning, where he simply tells his child, stop crying.
Yeah.
And I think most people in those comments are projecting, because they're like, well, what happened to me? Well, what happened to me? Well, what happened to me?
Yeah.
Okay, well, what you're describing that happened to you is not what's happening to this child. And just because the father uses the phrase, stop crying, does not mean that what this child is experiencing is trauma. He's going through a difficult time. He's emotionally overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference between all the people projecting in the comments about being traumatized because their parents did this or that to them is not what's happening to this child.
He has the support.
He is being emotionally supported, which is something that's absent in trauma. So already that's there.
Mm-hmm.
He is safe. The father gets down on his level. He acknowledges him eye to eye. He is not screaming at him. He is not being intimidating. So he has support. He has safety. And what was the third one? Abuse, right? Or neglect.
Which he is overwhelmed.
He is overwhelmed, but his father is
thing,
helping him overcome that and to emotionally regulate. And the most important thing that I think people are missing is in the clip, the child has a task to complete. And that's what people need to remember, especially with children, is we're raising children that have to become adult humans that can function through life.
Yeah.
And so rather than teaching, like shielding him, nothing hard happens. When something hard happens, you can quit, you can give up. It's okay to cry, but crying is not helping that child achieve the task in the moment.
Yeah.
And the father knows the child has a task to complete. He tells him, stop crying, because he sees his child is out of control. There's times when crying, like my number one I think of is childbirth. I told my kid's dad, especially with my first child, do not let me cry. Because I, didn't have any drugs, whatever, it gets pretty painful. But I said, if I start crying, I've lost control. If I start crying, I've let the pain overcome my body and I am no longer in control.
Yeah.
Don't let me cry. And so that's what he's doing, is he's helping that child to regain control so that he can complete the task, and that will forever set that child up for success in life.
Yeah.
So I don't think
and there's obviously a way to go about it too. You don't want to berate your child.
That
you don't want
doing
to
everything
yell at
he
them.
should be in that situation.
Exactly. And that's a big difference.
When I first watched the video, my knee-jerk reaction was like I hate seeing kids cry. And like you said with the projection, I remember what it felt like as a child to cry and feel overwhelmed like that. So immediately I was like, oh my God, what's going on? I think that's why it makes people stop scrolling.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, the kid's crying, what's wrong, And then you've got a father telling him, okay, you still have to complete the task. And so people are like, well, what the heck? The kid's crying,
They want him to coddle him.
Yeah. And as a kid who was coddled, it's like, no, he needs to fucking complete the task. He has to get tough. And
Get tough. That's right, dude.
In gymnastics, we had a coach that was very tough, and we were coached by two main coaches, and it was their dad. So he was older generation. He had an old-fashioned way of doing things, and all the girls were scared of him. You know what? I fucking loved him. I loved him, dude, because he would make sure that you did your fucking shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one day I got up on the bars and he said, do a handstand. And I was like trying to do a handstand and I was scared. And I kept trying. He's like, you're not even trying. He's like yelling at me in front of everyone and I'm all embarrassed. And he's like, actually try. And I'm like, I can't. And he's like, what are you scared of? And I'm like, I'm scared of falling over. He's like, just get up and try again. And he did it in this like calm way. I'm like, he's going to help me, you know? And so I fucking go to cast up into a handstand. He fucking hits my arm and I fall down on the other side. And I get up and I look at him and he looks at me. And we just had this like deep understanding of
that was the worst thing that could happen. Yeah.
I got up and I fucking did it. Like,
well, that's crazy, the emotional regulation thing to me, because I didn't even know that was a thing until way late in my 20s.
I think it's a newer thing that people have started recognizing,
Yeah, there are so many really great books out there that talk about like a child's mental development too. But I think even adults don't even recognize that they're projecting.
Mm-hmm.
So that self-awareness, and then I think as a society right now are not used to seeing parents give their child that type of love.
Yeah, no.
Just like you were saying, Dee, is that it's not coddling. It is walking them through these emotions, but also you're going to finish this task. And Shy, to me, is a great example of
a child who's been raised
that way.
Shy
has been raised that way, and then your dad also, Looper.
You guys would have to like run and do shit. Like,
it's just tough love, and you know, sometimes maybe I think parents.
We were very regularly told like not even to stop crying, but like, what the hell is crying gonna do for you?
Yeah.
And I very much as an adult carry that mindset. Like when I've had like really hard things, like whatever, any hard thing in my head, I'm just like, I don't have time to be sad.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're having a mental breakdown, you're like, wait, this feels weird.
Yeah.
Make yourself stop, because you're like, what is?
I like talk shit to myself about stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll tell myself like, quit being a fucking pussy, dude.
Yeah.
Which like, there's times where you can take it too far or whatever, but like, yeah, and that like, it's just annoying because people need to quit throwing the word trauma around like it's like this light thing. Like every single hard thing that happens is not traumatizing.
Sure.
And in fact, some hard things that happen are very beneficial to us when we learn how to properly overcome them.
If you don't know about that, watch David fucking Goggins.
I don't know who that is.
And if you think this kid's traumatizing his child, quit being a pussy.
What do you think about the video, Trey?
Something you guys didn't mention that really actually in that video specifically is he's not just telling his son to stop crying. Okay, he gets on his level and he says, take a deep breath and stop crying. So he is initiating that ability to control your emotions, because obviously the crying is it's an immediate reaction because his body is exhausted, his mind is exhausted, and his mind and body are telling him that he can't do that. Mm-hmm. And so his dad is saying, take a deep breath, stop crying, you can do this. Mm-hmm. You can do it. Take a deep breath, stop crying. Mm-hmm. That's huge, because in that sense, he is helping his son to regulate his emotions. And then by getting through that, and then his son finishing the task that he was given, now he has overcome what he thought he couldn't do. And so that is so huge to help them in their life, because there are things that every single person will go through that, yes, you can quit. You can stop right now. You can quit, but that's not getting you anywhere. So like I was raised, I grew up around riding the horses and everything. And so Court, you were saying how you had your gymnastics coach, right? Mm-hmm. I had, when I was very young and my mom got me my first pony, that pony was a bitch. I mean, she would bite me, she would kick me, she would run away, she'd like rip out of my hands and run away, and then I'd spend hours trying to catch her. So then I started wrapping the lead rope around my hands so that when she did take off, she just drugged me.
Well, at least you were with her.
But like, I grew up in that like cowgirl up, get back on the horse and and do what you need to do, So in that sense, like there was so many times that I hit the ground or my horse would like rake me under a tree or whatever. And I knew that if I did not get back on the horse, not only would that be detrimental, and like, so animals are very intelligent, right? So not only if I don't get back on, then that animal learns that it can continue to do that and get away with it, right? But then also on top of that, by getting back on, I showed myself that I could do it. And then guess what? After, I don't know, however many months of fighting this pony and fighting and fighting and fighting and getting hurt and everything, then we started kicking ass. She realized that no matter how many times she got me off, no matter how many times she hurt me, my little ass was getting right back on and making her work 10 times harder, right? So that, like at a very young age, because I got this pony when I was 5 years old. So like at a very young age, I was told, cowgirl up, toughen up, stop crying, get back on, finish what you need to do. And then also another thing is in our ag class, our ag teacher, Mr. Birch, I will still preach to this day that he is one of the best things that ever happened to me. I was very shy. Public speaking was probably one of my absolute biggest fears. And Mr. Birch, as a freshman in high school, he made every single one of us stand up in front of the class and say the FFA creed. And I remember the whole time watching people go up there and struggling through it and not wanting to do it. And I'm like, there's no way I'm doing that. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not standing up in front of people. I'm not looking stupid. I'm not going to do this. We didn't have a choice. We would literally fail. He told us if we did not say this, then we were going to fail the class. And I got up there and I said, I spoke in front of everybody and I said the creed. And ever since that moment, standing up in front of the class, now I can stand up in front of anybody and talk. So after watching the video clips and listening to how we feel about what we believe to be true trauma and what we believe to be not true trauma, as in maybe it's just an experience that is going to help somebody grow. We want to know how you guys feel and what you believe is truly traumatic and what is a hard situation or a hard, a difficult experience that people believe is trauma that's not actually trauma. It's a growth period or something that is going to help somebody grow. So with everything said, we want to hear your opinions and your thoughts on true trauma and hard experiences.
And
Trauma or not.
trauma or not. See you next time.
Bye.
Woo-hoo.